Greetings everyone, welcome to the Natural Spinner. I am spinning some merino here, and the majority of this video is just going to be me spinning for the most part, and I'll be making some comments as I spin along. It's a quiet Sunday afternoon, and I just got the idea to do it and talk a little bit as I go along, and hope you would enjoy it. At the very beginning, when it first started, you saw my control card, and I have one of those for every yarn that I spin. It helps me keep a very consistent yarn. I get my joy from spinning, from making really smooth singles, and this particular yarn that I'm spinning for is going to be a 2-ply. It's lace weight. I'm guessing 30 to 35 wraps per inch once it's plied and set, and then it'll bloom a little. So I'm guessing. This particular merino fleece came from Ruppert's Corriedales. I picked it up at Maryland Sheep and Wool in 2017. The locks are really long, 4 to 5 inches, absolutely gorgeous. I have a small sample I have yet to send off for micron testing, but I'm guessing that it's 20 or below. It's extremely fine and really beautiful. Not typical merino that I have had in the past. I combed this on my Valkyrie SuperFine combs. I did start out trying to comb it on my extra fines, but it left too much in the comb top after I dizzed it. There was just too much. It wasn't taking out no matter how many passes that I went back and forth trying to remove it all. It just wouldn't. So I moved to those superfines, which sometimes don't do well for really springy fleeces, but this one wasn't, or isn't. It doesn't have that tight spring to it, and I don't know how better to describe it. Maybe I should do a comparison between really springy and really not so springy fleece in a different video. There's an idea, right? And as I'm going along, I'm picking out every little speck and checking, every so often for the consistency. A fine lace yarn will show the imperfections from vegetable matter getting in the fibers or neps and tangles, more so than a thicker yarn, because there's fewer strands of fiber to hide anything in because it's so tiny. So you'll see me pick out specks every now and then, and that's because I want it to be perfect. I get comments either while I'm spinning or about the finished yarns when I take them to guilds or show them to a friend or whatever, and people will say, why do you want to spin a perfect yarn? Why don't you just go buy it if you want it perfect? And I'm thinking, the whole point for me in spinning is to spin as close to me, quote, perfect yarn as I can make. That's what gives me joy. That's what gives me pleasure. And that's what drives me to do it more and more. So, but each to their own. Some people do not have the patience for this kind of spinning. The combing alone, I think I combed 9 grams of fiber last night into 3 little tiny balls of top, and it took me a couple hours to do it, and most people roll their eyes and think, no way, I'm not doing that. I think I actually suffer from fiber prep OCD, so if it takes me a long time, that's okay. So I'm comparing my first plyback sample where I was happy with the 2-ply to the current plyback sample, just to see how they're evening up, and they seem to look pretty good. And when I join for really super fine lace singles, you'll see, so there's a little bit of spit on the fingers, and then just a strand or two, one or two little fibers to start with, and then it sort of feathers it in until it's blended and connected, and there it is. And you can't really see, there shouldn't be any bump or any real, you shouldn't notice where you joined your fibers. And that can take practice. I don't even do it now every single time as perfectly as I want to. Sometimes I join it, I don't like it, I pull it back apart, and it might take another time to get it right. And it's a little harder on really fine lace because it would be more visible if it's not perfectly done. So you might notice that the lighting has changed. Well, that's because I'm not much of a tech person, and in my first attempt at editing, I goofed and deleted a section of it by accident. So I've had to go back and re-record some, and it's later in the evening, and it's dark outside, so I ended up turning more lights on in the house to make up for that. And it actually made it a little brighter than my earlier recording. So here is the beautiful hand comb top. I was trying to show you a little more up close how beautiful that is. I love making hand comb top. Absolutely love it. It's one of my most favorite things in the world to do. And there's the fleece that the top was made from. As you can see, it wasn't washed in lock form. Not that section anyway. If you have never experienced the joy of combing your own fibers, I highly recommend giving it a try someday. Maybe borrow some combs from a friend or take a class or, I don't know, find a way, because it is something you will never forget doing. Even if you don't enjoy the combing process itself, which some people after they try it, they don't, and that's fine. We like different things, but you will love spinning the top. It's light and airy and a pure joy to spin. Here you go. I thought I'd give you a nice close-up of my drafting. This is mostly worsted, with a little bit of semi-worsted in there too, if you watch carefully. If you are newer to spinning and you're wondering what that means, it's just, worsted means that the twist is not getting between my hands into the drafting triangle area. The left hand is controlling the twist that's coming from the spinning wheel. The right hand is just holding the fibers so that my left hand can pull them from that fiber supply. Now, true worsted, you're not supposed to let the twist go past the pinch area of the left hand, or whichever hand, if you're using your right hand, the hand closest to the wheel. That's your control hand, and you're just keeping the twist from getting in that drafting triangle. If you let the twist go in, which if you watch, sometimes I do, that's technically considered semi-worsted. I'm not too concerned about it. I still get the yarn that I want. Checking my consistency so that my yarn will be nice and even. It does take a lot of practice to get it smooth and consistent. If your prep is smooth, it'll be a lot easier to spin it smooth if you're not constantly picking out neps and oils and vegetable matter. This, even though it is combed on the SuperFines, and I removed almost every bit of trash out of the fiber that I wouldn't want in my comb top, I still do come across little bits, which you've seen me pick out and I've talked about. So the better your prep, the easier your spinning. I do want to thank you for joining me, and I hope you have enjoyed watching me spin. I do love to hear from you in the comment section below. I do my best to reply to everyone. And I hope you're enjoying some fiber fun today and possibly spinning a little bit yourself. So, thank you very much. Until next time.